Math, Romulus Middle School. Resignation, Robin Liberty, Social Studies, why does it say RCS? It should say the high school. C, approval. To approve the bills for payment as submitted by Dr. Vincent Mensa, Director of Business and Operations, in the amount of $829,860.69. The chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move to be accepted the agenda as presented.
Support.
Been moved by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Ms. Funderburg. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 7-0. Ms. McAnally, the agenda is yours.
Good evening, everyone. First item on the agenda is an action item. It's for the boys and girls MHSA state final track and field championships scheduled for June 1st and 2nd. We don't know if we have anybody qualified, but the board should take action because it could be an overnight trip if we do have individuals.
Mr. President,
Yes.
move the Board of Education approve the proposed overnight field trip for the Romulus High School boys and girls track and field teams to Holland, Michigan on June 1st, returning June 2nd, 2018 to compete in the MHSAA state finals at no cost to the district.
Support.
Is that supported by Ms. Funderburg?
Yes.
Thank you. Any questions? Motion by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Ms. Funderburg. Hearing no questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 7-0.
The next item is also an action item. It's the high school FCCLA National Conference, June 27th through July 2nd, 2018 to Atlanta, Georgia.
Mr. President,
Yes.
move the Board of Education approve the proposed field trip to Atlanta, Georgia from June 27th to July 2nd for the Romulus Senior High qualifying FCCLA students to attend the FCCLA National Leadership Conference as proposed at no cost to the district.
Support.
Been moved by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Ms. Funderburg. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 7-0.
And I think Ms. Shawn and Lisa both were here last week to give us an update on the outcomes of their.
Oh, awesome, yes, they were.
The next item is an RFP for transportation. It expires in June of this year, so it's an action item that we see to go up for a bid for transportation.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
move the Board of Education accept the recommendation of the Director of Business and Operations, Director to seek an RFP for the above stated services for transportation.
Support. With discussion, please.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Ms. Funderburg. Discussion, Ms. Funderburg?
I guess I just wanted to know the process, because the last time we did this, we kind of had a back and forth going on with the transportation bid, so I just wanted to know what the process was
It
going to be.
is, it should be laid out on page
If we could find it.
5.
Well, this talks about, this is the deadlines. I'm more or less concerned about the actual, like, are we having a committee?
Actually,
And what that process of the
yes.
committee is gonna be, because that's where it got.
the committee was basically, at this point, I was going to, once the board approved this, I was going to discuss it with Mr. Kudrick, to see his availability, Ms. Beers, and myself. The intention is that anybody can be at the due date for proposals when the bids will be open on May 11th.
Okay.
The interview will, and at that time, the 3 board members that are on the committee, they will begin the review process.
Okay. But the
If
board
there's-
members aren't the only people.
No,
That's correct.
no.
No, there'll be
There's a
building administrators, the whole
each
shop.
level,
Okay.
city and other processes.
And then the interview, that again, will be that same committee of, I believe it's about 11 or 12 people. Again, 1 administrator from each level. There's going to,
But a decision of which one will come back to the board will be decided by the committee to bring that forward.
Okay. I did have a request from.
yes, ma'am.
Wondering if the board would entertain having a student on that
basically, it's a job for the board, and that's where it should be. If we start letting students get all involved in it, it's
Well,
gonna create a lot of problems.
But it's
later on.
open to the public, correct?
They can come and sit and
Not
listen,
in the
yes.
committee.
Not on the committee?
Yeah, the
Come
committee
and
is,
sit, but they can observe.
I can appreciate what, because I did that when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was a student representative on the board.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that the board can consider, is having a student liaison that would participate in a lot of things.
Yeah.
But to involve any student in a particular thing, I think that's problematic.
Okay.
Because how would this election go and, you know, things of that nature.
We know who we picked for that one.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, pick me, pick me. Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Moving right along, the next item is also an action item. The millage rate authorization for the sinking funds. We have to have it all ready to submit to the county and the city by May 1st, so we need to take action on this item.
In 2018 for the new sinking fund millage. Rationale, the millage elections are required by law, budget implications are none. You want me to read the language?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who was
Support
this?
by me.
Caldwell, thank you. For clarification purposes, the motion was, and the language that was inserted here was 3 mills. I know the board has discussed 2, 2.5, and 3. We do not have the full report back from Barton Malo yet. However, from my perspective, we clearly demonstrated we need more than 3 mills. So again, my opinion, we have a responsibility to let our voters know that. So as the motion stands right now, it's at 3 mills. So unless the maker and the seconder of the motion want to have conversation as to a different millage number, the motion on the floor is for 3 mills.
Well, not that I want to change the 3 mills, but I think it bears, I guess, knowledge or discussion. So, just kind of like a history lesson, if I may. When I moved here in 2003, we were assessing in a whole harmless like 13.889 mills. When I moved here in 03. Then, I would say maybe 2 years later, it went down to 11, and so it's been declining since I've been on the board, where we're now assessing 1.3. The sinking fund came probably in
2008.
2008 at the 0.75.
Yeah, as a trade-off.
As a trade-off for the
Refunding of the debt millage.
Right.
Yep.
And so, in kind of taking into consideration the decline in the whole harmless millage and where we see and find ourselves today, not even including the fact that in 2008 the economy took a nosedive, and so now the property values are now just beginning to creep up a little bit. You still have some people's mortgages who are still upside down. So with that, when you talk about getting money for mills that are assessed related to their property values, we are taking in much less than we did in 2003, even 2008 for that matter. And so when you talk about where we are today, the fact that we have employees who gave money back, and we're trying to correct that. The cost of MIPSers is increasing, healthcare is increasing, and so with that in mind, when we talk about wanting to go out for sinking fund, you know, you hear these conversations and rumblings in the community of why. I'm like, okay, we got orange shirts sitting in this audience. That's one reason why. 2, our buildings are beginning to deteriorate. We need to fix them. That's another reason why. And compared to what we were assessing in '03, here go, we don't have the capital anymore to sustain all of that. And so when we come to ask, it's not because we're, trying to, just get money for the sake of getting money. We are trying to make sure that our district is solvent and that we can pay our employees what they're asking us, and that our kids aren't having buildings and roofs falling around about their heads, and that when they, are participating in their different activities where we can have money for music programs, for arts programs, for athletics. And so that's why we assess tax. People don't work for free. They worked for a salary or for an hourly rate, and we have to maintain our facilities. And so putting this on the ballot for me is a no-brainer. And like Mr. McLaughlin said, 3 meals, we should be asking for more, but to me the 3 meals is reasonable. And so I just need to get that off my chest, because a lot of times we have people who come and they support our teachers, while you guys are here, but when they go to the ballot box, they do not. And that has to change, because we are doing this for a reason. It's not because, people are trying to get over on taxpayers. We want to take care of our stuff. We want to take care of our kids. We want to take care of our staff. And so let's do that collectively, please. I'm good.
Well said. Well said. Any further comment? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Superintendent, obviously, you'll communicate that with Barton Malo so that they can begin working that into their numbers, please.
Sorry for the addendum items, but there's a couple of them here. Forgot all about our first read, our second read of the board policies. So the first one is the second and final reading of board policy number 5003.
Oh, that's right, thank you. Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Board of Education accepts the second and final reading adoption of the amended proposed purchasing board policy 5003, federal procurement standards.
Ms. Funderburg, would you mind turning that page over and reading the bolded part, please?
No, I don't mind. Okay, purchasing. The board authorizes the superintendent to purchase and/or supervise the purchase of all materials, equipment, supplies, and services necessary for the operation of the school
I'm
district.
sorry. We just need that bolded
Amendment
part.
to the
Oh, I'm
policy.
sorry.
Just the bold part.
Okay.
That way you don't have to read
No,
6
that's
paragraphs.
fine. So the amended portion to the policy 5003 is federal procurement standards. The board seeks to ensure the district complies with all procurement, EDGAR, E-D-G-A-R, which is an acronym. The superintendent will delegate responsibility for the development of procedures that comply with this policy to the Director of Business and Operations.
And I believe, thank you, and I believe the seconder was Mrs. Beard.
Yes.
Been moved by Ms. Funderburg, supported by Ms. Beard. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. And the second policy is board policy number 5008. And that's the meal charge.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that the Board of Education accept the proposed board policy as presented for the second reading and adoption of Board Policy 5008, meal charge.
Been moved by Ms. Beard, supported by Mr. Kudrick. Ms. Beard, would you please mind turning over
Yep.
the page and reading it, please?
Yep. Policy 5008, meal charge. The school district has established this meal charge policy for children who are eligible for reduced price or for full-price meal benefits but have insufficient funds to pay for school meals. This policy also addresses bad debt incurred due to the school district's inability to collect unpaid meal charges from its students. The superintendent will develop and implement administrative regulations regarding meal charge procedures to provide consistent direction concerning students who are eligible for reduced price or paid meals but do not have funds in their account or in hand to cover the cost of their meal at the time of service. These regulations and this policy will be provided to all households in writing at the start of each school year, to households transferring to the school district during the school year, and to all school district staff and independent contractors and companies responsible for implementation.
It's been moved by, thank you, it's been moved by Mrs. Beard, supported by Mr. Kudrick. Any questions?
Good question.
Ms. Miles?
Are we changing, the amount or?
No, this isn't a change at all. It's
No,
just,
but I mean, like currently it's, I think, $10.
yeah, this doesn't address that.
That'll come somewhere else.
That'll come through the administrative recommendations, regulations to implement the policy. Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
Couple of reminders coming up, so you need to mark on your calendar. May 8th, 2018, at 6 o'clock is Romulus Early College celebration, their graduation in our district. They'll also have one the same day as our high school graduation at Fort Field. For those, yeah.
It's the same day, very unfortunate.
Yeah,
It is.
the college's graduation ceremony at Fort Field is the same day as our high school graduation.
That happens every
That
year.
happens every year. It's unfortunate, but that's,
We're trying to work that out, but, I will not be in attendance for that because my son will be graduating from Wayne State on that same night. So,
Yay!
Celebrating with my son Jesse.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Also in your packet, is information on the early college informational meeting that's scheduled for April 18th. And that's a new group of cohorts coming in for 10th grade start, their second semester.
and that's the parent meeting.
And then the next flyer is for marking the calendar of the city's hometown heroes, 6 o'clock at the rack. And I don't know why there's not a date down there. So I have it.
Mac, do you know if there was any staff members from our district submitted?
I do know of a couple, but I don't know if they know yet.
Okay. Well, that's fine, you know, that name, I was just hoping somebody, we worked hard to get that category in there, and I'm just hoping they still
Is
use
the
it.
flyer even in your
I
packet?
think it's the 26th.
It was mailed to us at home.
Letter.
I would just ask board members, if you're going to attend, to please notify Marilyn by the end of the week so she can reserve a spot for you at the thing. I believe next Monday's the absolute deadline, so if we had it to Marilyn by Thursday, that would probably be helpful.
Somebody said they thought it was April
26th is Thursday.
I believe 26th is the date.
And that ends my report.
Thank you. We're now at the part for communications and expressions from the public. I do have a few sheets here for those that may have arrived a few minutes late. If you would like to address the board, we ask that you fill out one of those sheets that's on that back table and pass it up to the front, and we'll get you taken care of. The first speaker is Ms. Betty Lanasi.
Most of you here know that I'm a retired school bus driver from this system. I'm also retired from Romulus School Board. I think it's a shame that you people in charge, why don't you set a fire under these negotiators and settle with our teachers? I'd hate to see our schools closed down because people aren't doing what they should be doing. And I think it's a shame you don't get your mics fixed.
Yeah, we can't hear back here.
Yeah.
The next speaker is Amy Kapala.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Amy Capella, and I have been teaching in Romulus for 18 years. My husband, Matt, has also been teaching in Romulus for 19 years. $60 per hour. This is the pay rate for our current contracted special education staff, with the exception of one that is contracted at a higher rate of $71 per hour. Currently, we have 6 contracted employees within the special education department, contracted due to being unable to hire staff directly due to the wage that we offer. Contracted staff is comprised of speech and language pathologists, teachers, and a school psychologist. These employees are not evaluated, asked to join committees, do not work overtime for free, do not spend hours of time lesson planning, and are not asked to attend district meetings or professional development. Yet they are contracted at a higher rate than the teaching staff. What kind of services are our special education students getting at this rate? Reportedly, many speech students are receiving service 1 time per month, in some cases less. They are receiving the minimum required by their IEP or less. I've been unable to locate any research that supports students receiving intervention 1 time per month has any positive outcomes on student achievement. On the other hand, REA teachers are evaluated, asked to join committees, constantly work overtime for free, spend hours of their own time lesson planning, and are constantly asked and expected to attend after-school district activities and meetings. REA staff that attend committee meetings are offered compensation at a rate of $14.63 per hour. In addition, teachers are criticized for not attending committee meetings at this pay rate and told that in order to have a say in the district, they must attend. Teachers are criticized for stating they would or could not teach after-school activities. Teachers are marked down in their evaluations for lack of participation. The fact is, your teachers have lives, and we have families to provide for. Your teachers cannot afford to pay extra childcare for an extra hour of work that compensates them at $14.63 an hour. Many teachers work additional jobs in order to make up for the loss of pay they have endured over the last 8 years. And many of us have our own children that need us too. My husband and I have been forced to pick up additional jobs in order to make up for the loss of pay. My husband coaches 2 sports, teaches summer schools, and cuts lawn during the summer. I went through ABA training to become an ABA technician in order to help make up for the loss of pay. In addition, one of us is constantly paying tuition to continue our education and take college courses. On top of this, we have 2 busy children counting on us to be at their games, be their chauffeurs, and be there for them. This is becoming increasingly more difficult as we continue to pick up extra responsibilities to make ends meet. We've been here every month speaking to the lack of respect given to teachers within this district, yet nothing changes. Teachers continue to resign, more than 30 in the last year and growing. I ask, what is your plan to keep your teachers? Is there a plan? And can you afford to continue on this same path?
Did you finish? Well, good evening. I haven't really prepared anything because, again, my time is precious and spending time to speak every week, takes some preparation. But I just wanted to speak about, of course, we need to settle this contract. We need to be on the same foot going forward. But I think I just really want to make sure that everybody understands it's not just about the compensation, although that's stressing us out personally, but it's about the lack of respect and communication that we have within the district. I just was a party to someone from the board office coming and evaluating me unknowingly, not supposed to, not responding to my emails about that. And basically putting false information in the evaluation as well, threatening to say it was going to be put in stages. And I've not heard back from that person or the person above her regarding that situation. I've been teaching for 17 years, rated effective and highly effective for 17 years. So when we're stressed out and we're being told that, and we're handling a lot, to have the people that are supposed to support us come in and basically try to intimidate us, which is not going to work. It's demoralizing. It's very disrespectful. On top of that, I'm being told that my voice is only heard if I come to committee meetings, which I've been in many committees, and anybody who's been on a committee would know that I have. But I just want to share with you one reason why I was not in a committee this year or not part of the curriculum council this year was because I asked at a professional development what were going to be my job responsibilities as the leader of this committee, which a lot of people suggested that I be, as well as what my responsibilities were and what my compensation was going to be. And nobody there could tell me that. But I don't know about you, but I'm not going to spend my time signing up for a committee when I don't know what the purpose is, what my responsibilities are, and what my compensation is. So before we say that we're not joining committees because of specific reasons, I think we really need to dig deep and understand that regardless if we settle the contract, which I hope we do, and I'm hoping we're in the right direction, we've got to build some trust, some communication, and respect in the district. Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Sarah Rollins.
So it's recently been brought to my attention that one of the contract workers that I work close to is struggling and is struggling with the workload, struggling with the procedures. And it was asked of a Romulus teacher, not a contract worker, but a Romulus teacher, to help someone who is a contract worker. And I just think that this mentoring needs to be in place to give these contract workers support that's needed and not necessarily asking for free support from our Romulus teachers. I hope this gets fixed, and it just doesn't sound right that we've got teachers who have really made an investment in our district who are helping contract workers who have a bit of a less investment into our district, but are getting paid more and receiving support from our teachers who get paid less. And we have these contract workers because we can't hire other people to come and take this job. So I'm not sure why we keep dumping on our teachers. It's just another example. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Okay, having no other forums, now time for questions and concerns of board members. Ms. Funderburg?
Just that we mentioned this at our special meeting, but we attended 3 weeks ago now the Michigan Early Middle College Conference, and so it was really nice to see the other programs within Michigan that are that have early college programs, because it's really very apparent that everyone, depending upon their district needs, really just kind of really develops the program that's best suited for their students and community. And so we got some really pretty good information about just our steps moving forward for adding the CTE portion to the early college experience. And so I've already had like a couple of things that I've reported to Ms. Smith in regard to some of the things that we learned. And I wanted to say that Mr. McLaughlin, Ms. McAnally, Carinza, and
Oops, sorry. Stop.
Dr. Nelson is getting a brain fart, sorry. Also was in attendance at the conference as well. So it was good information.
Well, I'll let you speak in just a minute.
No, go ahead.
I would just chime into that though, is, again, it's a reflection on our staff that our program was highlighted during the statewide conference at Mount College. So that speaks highly of the commitment of our staff and our students that are participating in the program, including the one that was featured in the news article that was out there. So,
yes.
Several of these districts that are tweaking their own programs are kind of using us as their base, as their foundation. So, again, we're ahead of the curve on that, so that's a good thing. Ms. Piles?
I know teachers do, just from personal experience as a parent, put in a lot of extra time that's unpaid, and thank you for that. Personally, my children have benefited from that, and I appreciate that. I don't expect it, but I'm thankful that you do it. To speak to the teachers and the contracted employees, I know that I was asked at an open house or parent-teacher conference, a parent who had seen me at the school wanted to talk to a particular contracted employee, and they're not there in the evening, and I know our teachers are, so I don't know if that's something that we can address. I don't know also what the process is, how we evaluate our contract workers, if we have people that are struggling with workloads and aren't able to fulfill requirements. We need to know that and get people in there who can. Also, I am still requesting a list of contracted employees as well as a list of classes that are staffed with permanent subs, as well as a list of all teachers who have resigned by building and department for the last 2 years. And I still haven't received any of that.
Do you have any estimation of when Gary can have that information?
I appreciate that. I first started requesting in November, and I know we're making a lot of decisions that are data-driven, so we should have data accessible.
Thank you, Mr. Goodrich.
I'd just like to thank all the staff that did come back, and I hear what you're saying a lot. Appreciate you coming back and doing what you do every day, despite everything that's going on. Just hope after this all gets settled, you do come back to our meeting and kind of save the orange for November 15th. That's hunting season, right? I knew Mr. Niedermeyer would know.
I will mimic my colleagues in saying, thank you for all the sacrifices that you do make. I've said it time and time again, it doesn't go unnoticed. I know it may feel that way, but it does not go unnoticed. And just know that this, getting a resolved contract is a top priority for our board and for our staff. We are not pushing this behind or any of that. We have made it very clear to leadership that this is a top priority right now. So, other than that, I wanted to just commend Margie. I know, it took some time, but we now have, if it's okay for me to say, the workings of a newsletter that will be distributed electronically and at some point in print. This is something that we've been sort of asking for quite some time. But what I do know about the work that has gone into this is that, when I asked Margie to do this, I said, Margie, we need a newsletter. We need to be able to communicate with our community and get the message out there before they're asking the questions. So we need to be more proactive. And everybody here knows I've been saying that we gotta be more proactive with communication. What I did find out in a more personal conversation with her is that, this is something she had to do herself. And I, don't get me wrong, that's why we make the big bucks, right? But I always thought that this would be something that somebody else would do on your behalf. So I appreciate you taking the time to put into this, and it looks great. And I look forward to, getting this into the hands of our parents, and as well as I think a big portion of our community that misses out on our message are those who don't have children in school. So I think this will be very valuable.
And we're planning on dropping a stack off at City Hall.
Oh, right.
Senior Center and those
Right.
two. It'll be up on our website, even about the staff. But you guys have the hot copy.
Yeah, so we're no longer relying on hearsay. We're sort of setting that message. One of the other things I just wanted to note was the possibility of you know, now that we've got this piece, and I know you're gonna be like, golly, I just, but can we look at putting together a database of email addresses? And I know sometimes those things get old. You know, I always say a person is not gonna miss a text message. So both email and text, I think, are two ways of communication that we're not using as a district. And so as we build these things, we wanna make sure that we can get them into people's hands.
I'm gonna have a meeting with Mr. Cooper because I like on the website, if you'd like to receive.
Yeah,
provide
let's
us
click
with-
here and we
Yeah.
can,
Because we have the capability, it's
Yeah.
just putting it
And
into use.
I did this weekend, I just went through our, MyStar system where all the students are housed. And we have close to 2,000 email addresses.
yeah, see,
So,
that's good.
of our parents, of our students, so if we put the link on there, we'll start able to
Right.
information and that can be for anyone out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spear.
I don't
I'm
have.
sorry. I did have one more thing that I forgot to say from 2 or 3 meetings ago. As we see more and more of our students nationwide being put into compromising safety situations, I had said this to Margie in private, but I wanted it to be noted in public that there was foresight in our district to put in security systems, you know, some time ago. And so, thank you again, Margie. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to make this the Margie show, but you know, to you and your team for having that foresight and pushing the button on it so that when we were faced with these things, we had the resources we needed to get right on top of it. So, sorry.
Well said. Ms. Spear?
Can I just follow up on that?
And her
Because I
phone
did
is
have I have had conversations with the ones that installed the cameras. And there are systems that we could possibly upgrade to even metal detectors. If money, if time, if all of that falls into place as we move forward in creating new services. So, and it wouldn't be a huge cost, they said, but businesses always say that, not a huge cost.
Right.
Did they say when they switched out card swipes?
The card swipes, no, we're still working in the process of that, and not give out the final on making sure that our cameras are always active and unfortunately.
Okay, finally, Mrs. Beer.
I have nothing new to say. Everybody's pretty much heard how I feel about what's been going on. I do appreciate you showing up at our meetings. I hope that you continue to come to our meetings and participate in our meetings. As Mrs. Safford said, we are working with our administration to get the contract issues resolved. We are staying on top of it. We get feedback from our administration on what's happening and what's going on. And of course, we can't discuss a lot of it because we are in negotiations. So we are aware of where we are, what the standings are. Other than that, I really don't have anything else new to say, and
Okay, go forward. Ms. Caldwell?
I just want to thank you guys for all your patience and your sacrifice and your consistency in communicating with us on various details of things that we may not hear up front. So, thank you, and keep doing what you're doing. That's it.
Thank you. I just wanted to add to a couple of comments. First, with regard to the newsletter, again, great job, Margie, in getting that done. And I believe moving forward with the next issue, so that we do address those people that are not, quote, our customers, you know, they don't have students in our buildings, that's where the mailing will come into place. So I do think that, you know, we're getting in that direction. I want to address the audience. There have been several contentious meetings. I've chosen to not engage because I didn't feel that would add any value to the conversation. It's not because I don't have respect for you or appreciation for you. Several people in this room I've had personal one-on-one conversations with, and I'm open to do that. And I personally want to thank you for, quite frankly, changing the tone over the last several meetings. We are very close. I believe we are very close to reaching an agreement. I'm not throwing a dart here, but the Teachers Association leadership, somebody had a death in the family, so the last mediation session was rescheduled, sorry, not canceled. So, but we are close. But nobody at this board is intentionally ignoring or disrespecting. But that's why I've not been engaging, because I didn't feel that would be helpful. Okay. With that, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, make a motion we adjourn.
It's been moved by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Ms. Funderburg. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 6:44. Thank you.